Welcome to Ancient Edge, where we unearth the hidden stories that shaped our world. Today, we venture into one of history's darkest chapters to illuminate something extraordinary. The triumph of human ingenuity over impossible odds. Imagine being deep behind enemy lines, cut off from supply chains, your standard equipment lost or destroyed, with nothing but your wits standing between survival and oblivion. This isn't the plot of a Hollywood thriller. This is the brutal reality faced by millions during the Second World War, and what they created from scraps and desperation will leave you astonished. You're about to discover how ordinary soldiers transformed junk into lifesavers, how prisoners built radios from refuse, and how resistance fighters manufactured weapons in secret workshops right under the enemy's nose. Prepare to see WWII through a lens rarely explored. The forgotten ingenuity that turned the tide of survival, one improvised tool at a time. The crucible of necessity. When standard issue wasn't enough. The Second World War presented unprecedented challenges that pushed human resourcefulness to its absolute limits. When Private James Henderson found himself trapped in a bombed-out building in Normandy with a shattered leg and no medical supplies, he didn't surrender to fate. He stripped his uniform, fashioned a tourniquet from his belt, created a splint from splintered floorboards, and bound the whole apparatus with torn fabric from his shirt. He survived. His story wasn't unique. It was replicated thousands of times across every theatre of war. The crucible of combat revealed a profound truth. When faced with annihilation, the human mind becomes humanity's greatest weapon. Standard issue equipment assumed functional supply lines, predictable combat conditions, and regular resupply. Reality delivered none of these. Soldiers found themselves in jungles where their weapons corroded within days, in Arctic conditions where metal froze to skin, in deserts where sand jammed every mechanism, and in occupied territories where possessing military equipment meant instant execution. They adapted or they died. Medicine from nothing, field innovation under fire. Medics and soldiers alike became masters of improvisation when faced with casualties and no supplies. When morphine ran out, they crushed willow bark and other local plants, unknowingly recreating aspirin's original formula. When bandages were exhausted, parachute silk became sterile dressing, its tight weave preventing infection better than many period bandages. Rifle stocks transformed into emergency splints, their rigid construction and length perfect for immobilizing broken limbs. Soldiers learned to create antiseptic solutions by boiling seawater or using alcohol salvaged from vehicle fuel systems, filtered through layers of cloth. In the Pacific Theater, Marines discovered that the fibrous husks of coconuts, when carefully separated and layered, could pack wounds and control bleeding. Medics fashioned surgical instruments from sharpened tent stakes and heated mess kit utensils, performing emergency procedures that would horrify modern practitioners but saved countless lives. The ingenuity extended to blood transfusions, where enterprising medics created gravity-fed systems using captured enemy canteens and rubber tubing salvaged from gas masks. These weren't textbook procedures. They were born from watching friends bleed out and refusing to accept helplessness as an option. Sustenance and shelter, surviving the elements. Hunger and exposure killed as surely as bullets, and soldiers became expert foragers and builders. In the frozen forests of the Eastern Front, troops learned to identify edible lichens and tree bark, creating bitter but calorie-rich soups that sustained them through brutal winters. They caught fish using improvised lines made from parachute cord and hooks fashioned from safety pins or bent wire. In North Africa, soldiers discovered that condensation could be collected overnight using metal helmets, positioned to catch morning dew, providing precious water drops in environments where wells were poisoned or controlled by the enemy. Shelters evolved from mere holes in the ground to sophisticated dugouts reinforced with ammunition crates, camouflaged with local vegetation and insulated with layers of parachute fabric and enemy uniform wool. British commandos in Norway created snow caves with ventilation systems improvised from hollow bamboo poles, preventing carbon monoxide buildup while maintaining warmth. American GIs in the Pacific wove palm fronds into waterproof roofing, creating structures that deflected monsoon rains and provided shade from the brutal tropical sun. These weren't camping trips, they were extended survival situations where comfort meant maintaining combat effectiveness and staying alive. Combat innovation. When desperation breeds deadly creativity, perhaps nowhere was improvisation more dramatic than in weapons and combat tactics. Corporal Tony Stein's Stinger machine gun really epitomized battlefield innovation at its finest. Faced with Japanese bunkers in Iwo Jima's volcanic terrain, Stein and fellow Marines scavenged aircraft graveyards for the lighter, faster-firing AN-M2 aircraft machine guns. They married these weapons with M1 Garand stocks, bar sights, and custom triggers, creating a devastating man-portable weapon that official procurement could never have delivered in time. Stein personally used his creation to destroy 20 enemy positions, saving countless American lives. Meanwhile, in Normandy's deadly hedgerows, Sergeant Curtis Cullen's simple innovation changed armoured warfare. By welding steel teeth cut from German beach obstacles onto Sherman tank hulls, American armor could punch through the dense hedgerows instead of climbing over them, exposing their vulnerable undersides. General Omar Bradley recognized genius when he saw it and ordered immediate widespread adoption. Within weeks, hundreds of Rhino tanks were ripping through Norman countryside, turning defensive nightmares into offensive advantages. Resistance, ingenuity, manufacturing hope in darkness. Perhaps the most remarkable improvisation occurred not on battlefields but in occupied territories, where resistance fighters manufactured weapons under the enemy's nose. The Polish Home Army's Błyskawica submachine gun stands as a testament to clandestine engineering brilliance. Designed to be produced using minimal tooling in hidden workshops scattered across Warsaw, the Błyskawica combined the best features of German MP40s and British Sten guns while using materials available in occupied Poland. Incredibly, resistance fighters produced these weapons in quantities sufficient to arm thousands, making it the only weapon mass-manufactured covertly in occupied Europe. Polish ingenuity extended to grenades fashioned from Seidel metal polish bottles, their innocent appearance allowing storage in plain sight, and K-pattern flamethrowers built from diesel fuel, gasoline, and compressed air tanks, salvaged from German equipment. During the Warsaw Uprising, 400 of these improvised flamethrowers proved devastatingly effective in urban combat. Allied POWs demonstrated similar resourcefulness, building crystal radio sets from razor blades, pencil leads, and wire salvaged from German equipment, maintaining connection to BBC broadcasts and sustaining hope when hope seemed impossible. The enduring legacy. Lessons from extreme necessity. These forgotten tools teach us profound lessons about human adaptability. Modern survival training, from military SEER schools to civilian preparedness courses, traces its roots directly to improvisation. The mindset that transformed Corporal Stein from soldier to inventor, that turned imprisoned engineers into radio builders, that made every Polish workshop a potential arsenal. This mindset transcends warfare. It speaks to humanity's fundamental refusal to accept defeat when survival demands innovation. Today, as we face different challenges, from natural disasters to remote expeditions, the principles remain unchanged. Assess available resources, identify critical needs, and create solutions rather than accepting limitations. The next time you face a seemingly insurmountable problem, remember Private Henderson binding his shattered leg with floorboards and shirt scraps, Remember the Warsaw workshops producing weapons from Polish bottles. Remember that human ingenuity, when pressed by necessity, creates miracles from scrap metal and determination. If this journey through forgotten ingenuity has captivated you, subscribe to Ancient Edge for more deep dives into the hidden stories that shaped our world. Share this video with anyone who appreciates history's lessons in survival and innovation. Drop a comment sharing which improvised tool surprised you most, or tell us about your own experiences with creative problem solving. The past isn't dead, it's a survival manual written in blood, sweat, and brilliant improvisation, waiting for those wise enough to read it. Until next time, keep exploring the edge where history meets survival.